Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna.
Shri Radha Gidari Bhagwan ki jai, Shri Radha Ras Bihari ki jai, Shri Radha Shyama Sundar ki jai, Shri Radha Neela Madhav ki jai, Shri Radha Kunj Bihari ki jai, Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Mai ki jai, Shri Rukmini Dwarkadish Bhagwan ki jai, Shri Sitaram Lakshman Bhatt Hanuman ki jai, Shri Giri Govardhan ki jai, Krishna Balaram ki jai, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. All Gurus who assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All Gurus who assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All Gurus who assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All Gurus who lotus feet of Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga ki jai. Jagat Guru Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasad Bhutala Shrimati Mahavishnu Gosamanti Namini. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasad Bhutala Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Samanti Namini. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Prasad Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Prasad Devaswami. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurumilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet Nashta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Bhakti Bhavati Naistiki Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Grantaraj Bhagavatam ki jai, Shri Bhagavatam ki jai. Okay, Hare Krishna. So hope everybody is doing fine. Can you hear me well? Can you see me well? Just speak out loudly. Don't
Yes, Prabhu.
All right, wonderful. And all of you are seeing yourselves as well. You should. Very nice. Okay. Right. So today we are discussing something which is very debatable. It's got controversy as well, and people have everyone has their own opinion. Every man with a dog or a woman with a dog has an opinion. Today's civilization, the present civilization, has made a lot of advancement, and in the sense that materially I'm now traveling to India from New Zealand, but still we're talking to the same audience who I was talking to when I was in New Zealand. Earlier, in the previous ages, before Kali Yuga ascended, this technology was present, but this technology was person specific, not mass produced. That means people had to perform austerities and achieve these siddhis or the blessings of their seniors who would bestow this blessing on them, and then they can have this technology of mass vision, mass broadcasting. That is how Bhagavad Gita was written down, because it was seen by Sanjaya, disciple of Vyasadeva. He was no ordinary person, although he was a Sarthi, Shudra. He was no ordinary person. And that's the reason why he was given these eyes. And that's why he was the Sarthi of Dhritarashtra. Such an important personality that his narration, eyes could be seen, I saw things, and that's how Dhritarashtra could see, and that's how Dhritarashtra, although blind, could see, and he could ask the very first question in the Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is all about question and answers. So the very first question which was asked by Dhritarashtra was Dharma Kshetre Kurukshetre Samavetayu Yutsavaha Mamakaha Pandavashchaiva Kim Akurvata Sanjaya. So what is the first word of Bhagavad Gita? Dharma. It's not religion. Hindu, my dharma. Muslim, my dharma. Christian, my dharma. No. This dharma is for all humanity. And ordinarily, it can be seen that he asked just a simple question. Oh Sanjay, in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, which is Dharma Kshetra, desiring to fight, Samaveta Yutsava. Yutsava means desiring to fight. So the Japanese martial arts technique, which is called Jujutsu, is a mispronunciation of Ryutsava. Ryutsu means desiring to fight. There you go. So he said, okay, my sons and the sons of the Pandu have assembled in the Kurukshetra war with Dharma Kshetra, desiring to fight. Then he asked, so what did they do? Now only people who are not very deep will say it's an ordinary question. Anybody will ask, so what did they do? So they're going to fight. It's not ordinary question. He was thinking whether they have made a compromise or not. If they have made a compromise, so there is no fight then. And he wanted his son to become the king. That's why he wanted the fight. See? So always remember, if you want to be clever in your life, then start to see things from the speaker's point of view. Materially also, spiritually also, you'll understand things much better. So here, this was a question asked by Dhritarashtra because he had this motive. There should be fight. He was greedy. And although he was a senior, he wanted the kingdom. He didn't get the kingdom because he was blind. King can't be blind. Of course, you can't have that now in Kali Yuga because so many people will fight. What do you mean Prime Minister cannot be blind? We have a Prime Minister soon. There's Kali Yuga. Nothing wrong with being blind. Don't get me wrong, please. That is not mine. The thing is this, that a ruler, a king, has to have his senses working properly. That's why unsound mind, they cannot become king. They cannot become king fully. So many things are there. But anyway, so here, in the Kurukshetra war, the war broke out and they fought. In today's world, people don't even believe there is Kurukshetra. They say body is Kurukshetra. But we have got people in our own program who are from Kurukshetra. Who are born in Kurukshetra, in that area. Huh? Sanjay Prabhu, speak something. So will come on the screen. Are you
Hare Krishna,
there?
Prabhuji.
Yes.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes.
I've been the places where the Bhagavad Gita is
You are born in
spoken,
Kurukshetra. Yes.
and I visited
Yeah.
there, and
Tell him.
all the places still there where the Bhishma Pitama was, laid down on the arrows, and that place is still there. So all the different places on Mahabharata that described, it's all there. It's not it's not in your body and all that. That's all bogus, bro.
Yes. Thank you. So, this subject matter that we are trying to discuss today about the excellent mercy of Gurudev and Srila Prabhupada, that for a devotee, for a Vaishnava, any setbacks that comes in one's life, he accepts it as a mercy of the Lord. That is the definition of a Vaishnava. So we all are trying to become devotees of Krishna. So this is a very important litmus test. When any reverses or setbacks come to us, whether we blame the person, whether we blame the situation, or we keep quiet. That does not mean that when somebody does something wrong to us, we cannot defend ourselves. Neither we can argue with them. We should do it. We can put a police case against them. Of course, we should do this. But at the same time, we have to understand that the outcome of it is through providence. It's not because even the religious leaders of today's age, they are not following this particular principle of seeing Krishna's hand in everything. And this was the first instruction which Guru Maharaj gave me, to say, see Krishna's hand in everything. It was very difficult for me to see Krishna's hand in everything because things were so going wrong at the time. Not my life, but in the life of the other devotees. And I said, they are doing this. Nagri said, they are not doing this. So Maharaj said, no. Krishna is doing this. Remember this. This person, this devotee is not doing things wrong. Krishna is doing it. I remember one conversation, it was late morning, about 2 o'clock or something, 1:32. And Maharaj said this devotee is not doing things. Krishna is doing things. And it was not my problem. There was no fight with me. There was no issues with me, but issues amongst Maharaj's disciples and followers. They were not following the instructions. So there was one-upmanship was going on. And I remember what I said to Maharaj. I said, yes, Maharaj, I'm trying very hard to see Krishna's hand in this. That is how honest, and I still struggle with this point. So, we have got some setbacks, like we lose some business, we lose some relationships, problems. We've got problems with our own self. We've got misunderstandings, we've got understanding. A devotee tries to see that this is Krishna's hand in it. Do not expect every devotee to achieve this platform. Don't expect me to achieve this platform. It's very hard for me. But you can achieve. This is a fact that this particular principle, one who can achieve, is really advanced devotee. Really advanced devotee. So, some years ago, I think last year or a year ago, I've given a discussion on elephant story. It was an elephant, Gajendra Moksha. For those who do not know this, Gajendra Moksha, I will have a repeat of that in the song. In that particular beautiful song, which was sung by Surdas, Saint Surdas, he narrates the whole incident of what happened. So what had happened was Gajendra, Gaja Indra. Like even Sikh, they have got this name, Gurjinder. Gurjinder is Gajendra name. Gajendra. I remember when I was working in Auckland, New Zealand, because now I have my own business. When I was working for a media company, big media company, there was an Indian guy there, He was a Sikh. So I asked him, what's your name? He became very shy. I said, what? What is the name? He said, my name is Gajendra. Gurjinder. Gurjinder. What does it mean, Gurjinder? So he became more shy, man. He became very shy. He said, Gurjinder. Elephant. Then I thought a little for a few seconds. I said, no, Gurjinder, it's no ordinary elephant. Gurjinder is the pronunciation for Gajendra. And Gajendra is a very important personality in the Srimad Bhagavatam. There is a nice narration of Gajendra. Is it okay? I'm saying I'm a bit laggy, or you can hear me well? Just speak to me, please. You can hear me?
Bit laggy, bro. Yes, laggy.
Yeah? Can you hear me well, all of you?
Yes, bro, we can hear you.
Yes, yes. Bro.
We hear you. There is a lag though. Maybe talk a little slower.
Okay, all right. So I said to Gurjinder that Gajendra, there's a nice pastime of this elephant called Gajendra, Moksha, in Bhagavatam. This Gajendra is a pure devotee of Krishna. So what had happened was, this elephant, Gajendra, he was Gajome Indra. Means among the elephants, he was Indra, he was the king of elephants. Gajendra. So this Gajendra, one day, it was a sweltering summer day like us, we've got in India now. So we are very lucky to have some summer time, So many countries, summer here, I'm in Mumbai, I have fruits every day. Fruits. I've got, my mom makes for me, enjoying myself. Beautiful, first class. So do not feel sorry that you are in the sweltering heat. And New Zealand is cold, it's so nice. Or Australia is better. No, Australian heat you cannot even take fathom. It's 40-45 degrees regular. People have to be taken every summer to hospitals in Australia, Sydney and all that. So India is better. Anyway, so it was a summer day, and this Gajendra was very nicely traveling with his wife, she-elephant. And so many she-elephants were there, children were there, supporting him. He was a king. And in a beautiful forest they went through, of a big demigod, and there was a beautiful lake. In that lake, he said, let us go and have a swim. So he went with his beautiful wife. We may not see her beautiful because she's an elephant, but he saw her beautiful. So every species has got the same. You may have a very beautiful wife or a very beautiful husband, but for a fly, Maki, they think, what are these people? They look the same, And for us, the flies look the same, dirty. They say, you people are dirty. It's a perception problem. It's perception thing. So Gajendra with his beautiful wife, she-elephant, entered into the lake to enjoy. It was full of lotuses. It was in the heavenly planet. Top heavenly planet. Not spiritual, but heavenly planet. Because there's a description about that planet also. Just besides our point today. in discussion. So what happened was he entered the lake and he was enjoying splashing water with on his wife to make her enjoy water. Elephants have got the water on their trunk, and their children who were splashing, all the other their servants were there, elephants enjoying. And suddenly that disturbed, this whole commotion disturbed an alligator. Big alligator. Envious big alligator. The alligator came and caught hold of this elephant Gajendra's leg. And there was a big fight that pursued. First, Gajendra thought, what is alligator can do to me? Nothing. All his wife, children, wives, children, everyone was supporting him. Don't worry, Dad, fight. Fighting. But what happened was, and this particular fight went on for many, many years, because as I told you, this happened in the heavenly planets. So the comparison with the days and nights are very different of earthly planet. So it was 1,000 years the fight progressed. So Gajendra became fatigued. The fight is drawn out. You require a lot of patience and stamina. And elephant being the animal of the land, and the alligator, crocodile, rather it's a crocodile, not alligator, crocodile. Crocodile is an animal of the water. So crocodile is always in the water. That is his territory. And for elephant, who is the animal of the land, the water is alien territory. So he had to do more extra fighting to protect himself. So he became very fatigued. It was very, very painful for him because the leg was being still held on by this crocodile, not leaving. So the elephant became more and more weak, and the crocodile became more and more strong. So crocodile became more and more strong. At that point in time, when everything was being lost, his wives were with him, whom he was taking care of, children, they all ran away, leaving him alone. You must have seen that happening. Even in your life, you will see it happening. When things are good, everybody comes to you. When things become bad, even your friends and family leave you. Same thing happened to Gajendra in the higher planets as an elephant. Now, because he was, from his past life, he was a devotee. So he remembered that he must worship Krishna. And he prayed to Krishna at this stage to help him. And Krishna came as Lord Vishnu. And first he killed the crocodile. Crocodile became liberated. And then he saved Gajendra. And Gajendra also became liberated. This particular song is written by Surdas. Not many devotees sing this song. But my Guru Maharaj has instructed me, don't discriminate in Krishna Bhakti. Please. He had sung himself so many songs of Narsi Mehta and all, qualified, bona fide song, bhajans. This particular song, I'll sing in one lyric only, into translation. Hey Govind, Hey Gopal, Hey Govind, Rakho Sharan, Ab to Jeevan Hare, Hey Govind, Rakho को शरण अब तो जीवन हारे. He's lost. There's nothing to save him. Finished. So now he's asking for help, like Draupadi asked for help. He says, नीर पीवन हेतु गयो सिंधु के किनारे. Sindhu is a big reservoir of water. With the intention to drink water and enjoy there, I went to the lake, Sindhu ke kinare, bank of the Sindhu. नीर पीवन हेतु गयो सिंधु के किनारे. Sindhu beach rahat graha. Graha means crocodile. In the middle of Sindhu, the lake, crocodile was staying, big crocodile. He was a king of crocodile, no ordinary crocodile. Sindhu beach rahat graha charan dhari pachade. So the crocodile, charan, legs, dhari means held. The crocodile legs held his leg, and he was pachade, he was pulling him down, hammering them, giving him hiding, as you say, beating big time. Sindhu beach rahat graha charan dhari pachade. Charan dhari pachade. He Govind Rakho sharan अब तो जीवन हारे. अब तो जीवन हारे. Then he says, चार प्रहर युद्ध भयो ले गयो मझधारे. चार प्रहर means all the four sides. Big fight happened. युद्ध भयो. And in that fight, ले गयो मझधारे. He pulled me into the middle of the lake. Now, as we said, that an elephant is not the animal or inhabitant of water, whereas crocodile is. So it's easy for crocodile, difficult for elephant. चार प्रहर युद्ध भयो ले गयो मझधारे. ले गयो मझधारे. Then what happened? नाक कान डूबन लागे. नाक कान डूबन लागे. नाक कान डूबन लागे. नाक कान डूबन लागे. So at this point in time, when a living being is destroyed, when nothing remains for him, that's when he starts to drown material world. When everything is lost, his nose, his ears, even the crocodile is pulling him in the water, in the middle of the lake, deep lake. So he's drowning. This is the position of all living beings. At that time, he remembered Krishna suddenly. Naak kaan duban lage, naak kaan duban lage, Krishna ko pukare. Krishna ko pukare. At that point in time, he remembered Krishna. And there's a very beautiful prayer which Gajendra is praying to Lord Krishna. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is very beautifully mentioned. Hey Govind Rakho sharan ab to jeevan hare. Surdas, Santa Surdas writes this beautiful. So what happened? An elephant who was a devotee about to die. No ordinary people can remember Krishna at the time of death. Only when somebody has really performed high austerities, only then he can remember Krishna. Remember this. Don't think that I will remember Krishna at the end. It's fine. You will not be able to. Try doing it. If you're driving a car and you meet an accident, you will not remember Krishna. You will remember everything. You will give all galis before Krishna. I'm telling you this. Yeah, devotees have told me When they met with an accident and they were saved, they said, we don't remember Krishna. We remembered, we give all galis, oh no, all that happened, but no Krishna. It's an eye-opener. Only a pure devotee who remembers Krishna every time in his life can remember. So we remember. Hey Govinda, Rakho Sharan, Ab to Jeevan Hare, Ab to Jeevan Hare. So what happened when he remembered Krishna and prayed to Krishna? See what happened? Dwarika mein shabad gayo, shor bhayo bhari. So when a devotee remembers Krishna at the time of death, in Krishna's palace, in his Vaikuntha place of Dwarka, the current Dwarka is a representation of the real Dwarka in Vaikuntha. So that's where Dwarika mein shabad gayo, shor bhayo bhari. Two things happened there. First thing, in Dwarka, the news went, hey Krishna, your devotee is calling you. And then what happened? Not just news came, one person comes and says, hey Krishna, knock on the door, hey, one devotee is dying for you, please go there. Nothing like this. You're sure there's commotion there. One devotee is in trouble. Hey Govind, run, we'll help you. Go, go, go. So sure, Bhaya Bhari, big. So when we are in that position, sitting here in our material world, with our bhakti, when we dedicate our life 100% in our devotion to Krishna. When we remember Krishna with purity all the time, that's when this will happen. It's a privilege. Dwarika mein shabad gayo, shor bhayo bhari. Then what happened? Shankh chakra gada padma, Shankh chakra gada padma, Shankh chakra gada padma, Garudale padhare. Without wasting a moment, in a flicker, Krishna appeared there in front of Gajendra with Shankh, conch shell for his devotee, Chakra with his disc to kill the crocodile, Gada with to beat the demons, crocodile, Padma, lotus on the Garud. He immediately appeared. He's not a servant of anybody. But when his servant becomes his servant, then he is obliged to the servant. Don't make Krishna your servant. No, no, no. We are not interested in that. We want to become servant of the 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 gopis of Krishna. But Krishna likes to become servant of his servant. That is his prerogative. That's why to save Gajendra, he came. Immediately he came. All the inhabitants of Dwarka said, go! We're waiting for to bring him back now here. So he ran. Shankh chakra gada padma garudale padhare. He came. And one thing he did was he chopped off the head of the crocodile, saved Gajendra, and then he took the Gajendra back to Godhead. Hey Govinda, Rakho Sharan, Ab to Jeevan Hare, Ab to Jeevan Hare. So, at the end of this narration, Santa Sudas is giving a request. He says, Sur kahe sham suno, araj hai tihare. Surdas is saying, Sur kahe, O Sham, very dear. You know. So Krishna can be very dear. Somebody calls him Govind, somebody calls him Shyam, somebody is calling him Shamala, somebody is calling him Kana, somebody calls him Kanudo. You know, only God can do this. So Western people don't understand this word also. They say, yeah, his pet names are there. Krishna has many pet names. So Surdas is saying then at the end, Sur kahe Shyam suno araj hai tihari. I'm placing this important prayer at your lotus feet. Surdas is praying. Ab ki beda par karo, ab ki beda par karo. This time, don't leave me. He's saying, Surdas is saying, अब की बेड़ा पार करो, अब की बेड़ा पार करो. This time don't leave me. नंद के दुलारे, नंद के दुलारे, अब की बेड़ा पार करो, अब की बेड़ा पार करो. नंद के दुलारे, नंद के दुलारे. Oh beautiful son of Nanda, this time don't forget to take me back to you when I die. I had enough of repeated birth and death. I'm sick and tired of repeated birth and death. This time, please don't forget me. हे गोविंद राखो शरण, अब तो जीवन हारे. हे गोविंद राखो शरण, अब तो जीवन हारे, अब तो जीवन हारे, अब तो जीवन हारे. This is the background about Gajendra, how he attained liberation. He attained the siddhi of living with Krishna. There are many kinds of siddhis, liberation. He attained them. Now the question for intelligent people arises, if Gajendra is an elephant, he was such a devotee, how did he become Gajendra, an elephant? It's a low birth, not a human birth even. So let us come to that. There is a point of discussion today. What is the point of discussion today? How devotees, when there are setbacks in his life, reverses, they see the hand of Krishna and don't blame anybody. So, how Gajendra became elephant is mentioned in the 8th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. It says, Savai Purvam Abhud Raja Pandyo Dravida Sattamaha Indradyumna Iti Khato Vishnu Vrata Parayanaha Savai Purvam Abhud Raja Pandyo Dravida Sattamaha Indradyumna Iti Khato Vishnu Vrata Parayanaha. So, what were synonyms, translations, and purport of Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada? Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So, what happened is that Saha Vai Purvam Abhud Raja. Saha means this elephant, Gajendra. Vai means indeed. Purvam means in the past, or formerly. Abhu means what? He was Raja, king. He was a king. Pandyo Dravida Sattamaha. Pandya means in a country known as Pandya. Dravida Sattamaha. Dravida Sattamaha means the best of those who are born in the Dravida kingdom, which was south of India. Remember one thing, this information is not only about India, it's about the whole world. Formerly, 5,000 years ago, the whole world was ruled by one king. The king was based in Hastinapur, modern day New Delhi. Whole world spoke Sanskrit language. They followed Vedic religion. All our scriptures, Bhagavatam, Ramayana, Mahabharata, talks about the whole world, not only about India. Bharat was only India. Bharat was the whole world, Earth's name. So, he was the king, best of those born in the Dravida Desh, Dravida Sattamaha. Indradyumna iti khyataha. Indradyumna, the king, his name was by the name Indradyumna Maharaj. He died. Iti thus khyataha, the very celebrated king of Dravida Desh. And the last word is, last sentence is, Vishnu Vrata Parayanaha. Vishnu Vrata Parayana means who was a first class Vaishnava, always engaged in the service of the Lord Krishna. Vishnu. So this was Gajendra's previous word. Translation. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Listen very carefully. This Gajendra had formerly been a Vaishnava and the king of a country known as Pandya, which is in the province of Dravida, that is current South India. In his previous life, he was known as Indradyumna Maharaj. From South India, they ruled the whole earth. Like from Hastinapur, they ruled the whole earth. Every king around the world used to give them taxes for protection. And those kings from Hastinapur were Rajarishi. They were no ordinary kings. They were sages. They were Kshatriya, yes. They were Kshatriya kings. But like rishis. So what happened was, Indradyumna Maharaj, he retired from family life and went to the Malaya Hills. This Malaya Hill is even present today in India. She's so fortunate India land is, and all of us who live in India. Where he had a small cottage for his ashram. He lived alone. He left everything. He wore matted locks on his head. His hair became long, and because they were not kept, without shampooing, it became very matted, round. You see sadhus having those things. So he wore matted locks in his head and was always engaged in austerities, tapasya. Once, while observing a vow of silence, he was fully engaged in the worship of the Lord. And he absorbed in the ecstasy of the love of Godhead. He was in meditation. So while Indradyumna Maharaj was engaged in ecstatic meditation, worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead, a great sage, Agastya Muni, arrived there, surrounded by his disciples. When the Muni saw that Maharaj Indradyumna, who was sitting in a secluded place, remained silent and did not follow the etiquette of offering him a good reception, welcoming him, he was very angry. Agastya Muni then spoke this curse, immediately cursed him against the king. This king Indradyumna, is not at all gentle. Being low and uneducated, he has insulted a Brahmana. May he therefore enter the region of darkness and receive the dull, dumb body of an elephant. See, the purport Srila Prabhupada says that the elephant is very strong. It has a very big body. And it can work very hard as well and eat large quantity of food. But its intelligence is not at all commensurate to its size and strength. Although you can remember well, but no intelligence. They are a bit better intelligent than other animals, I tell you. Elephants are. But not as human beings. But according to size, they are not that intelligent in strength. They're not as intelligent. Thus, in spite of so much bodily strength, the elephant works like a menial servant for a human being. Agastya Muni thought it wise to curse the king to become an elephant, because the powerful king did not receive Agastya Muni as one is obligated to receive a Brahmana. Yet, although Agastya Muni cursed Indradyumna Maharaj to become an elephant, the curse was indirectly a benediction. For by undergoing one life of an elephant, or by undergoing one life of an elephant, Indradyumna Maharaj ended the reactions of all the sins of his previous life. Immediately after the expiry of the elephant's life, he was promoted to Vaikuntha Loka to become a personal associate of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayan, in a body exactly like that of the Lord. And this is called Sarupya Mukti. Now, Sukadeva Goswami continued, coming back to the narration. Said, my dear king, after Agastya Muni had thus cursed King Indradyumna, the Muni left that place along with his disciples. Since the king was a devotee, he accepted Agastya Muni's curse as welcome. It was a desire, because it was a desire of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, although in his next life he got the body of an elephant, because of devotional service, he remembered how to worship and offer prayers to the Lord. See? So the purport Prabhupada writes that this is the unique position of a devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Unique position of a devotee. Right? Although the king was cursed, he welcomed the curse, because a devotee is always aware that nothing can happen without the desire of the Supreme Lord. Although the king was not at fault, Agastya Muni cursed him. And when this happened, the king considered it to be his past misdeeds. Tate anukampam susamikshamana. Bhagavatam 10th canto is very beautiful verse. This is a practical example of how a devotee thinks. Devotee thinks very different to ordinary people. He regards any reverses in life as blessings of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, instead of being agitated, getting angry by such reverses or setbacks, he continues his activities of devotional service. And Krishna takes care of him and enables him to be promoted to the spiritual world, back to Godhead. If a devotee has to suffer the reactions of his past misdeeds, the Lord arranges for him to be given only a token of this reaction. And very soon, he will be freed from all the reactions of material contamination. One should therefore adhere to devotional service, bhakti yoga, and the Lord himself will very soon see to one's promotion to the spiritual world. A devotee should not be disturbed by unfortunate circumstances. But a devotee should not be disturbed by unfortunate circumstances, but must continue his regular program, depending on the Lord for everything. The word upadharayan, considering, is very significant in this verse. This word indicates that the devotee knows what is what. He understands what is happening in material world and conditional life. You see? Now you may say that person who doesn't have knowledge, they say, such a great devotee, Agastya Muni, why did he curse this Indradumna Maharaj, who was not at fault? He was in meditation, in trance, in ecstasy of Lord Krishna. Therefore, he did not wake up, stand up, and welcome him. Give good reception. Why he was short-tempered? He was so short-tempered that he cursed him. Here it is given. The Lord gave that benediction. And only Lord will not work through ordinary people like you and me. He'll work through his devotee. Agastya Muni also is devotee. And because Agastya Muni, his curse will come true. That's why Agastya Muni cursed him. Me and you will curse somebody, nothing will come true. You become elephant. He will laugh about elephant. But that's why Agastya Muni cursed. So this is how we should see the scriptures. That's why Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam has to be understood in the association of devotees. Otherwise we don't understand it. This is how a devotee should understand the reverses. If we do not see Krishna's hand in our life and our own karma, then we have some way to go in devotional service. As I said, of course, you should protect yourself. Of course, somebody cheats you, you must defend yourself. You must go to the police, you must defend, you must use whatever capacity you've got. I used to do it, I do it all the time. That being honest does not mean being naive and stupid. There is wrong understanding of being honest. Honest person can be very fierce. Very fierce. So the conclusion is given here in the purport. In this regard, there is a relevant verse in Bhagavatam 10th canto, which is Prabhupada gave a small word there. I read that verse. Tatte anukampan shishumikshamano. Tatte anukampan susamikshamano. Bhunjan evatmakrutam vipaka. Dutir dante jivet yo mukti pade sadhya dhaya bhuk dhaya bhak jivet jivet yo mukti pade sadhaya bhak. Translation: one who seeks your compassion and thus tolerates all kinds of adverse conditions due to the karma of his past deeds, who engages always in your devotional service with his mind, words, and body, and who always offers obeisances unto you, is certainly a bona fide candidate for liberation. So Prabhupada explains, a devotee who tolerates everything in this material world and patiently executes his devotional service can become Mukti Pada Sadaya Bhav, a bona fide candidate for liberation. The word Daya Bhav refers to a hereditary right to the Lord's mercy. Very interesting. Daya Bhav means it's a hereditary right to attain Lord's mercy. Every devotee has a hereditary right. Just like we have got hereditary from our father, mother, their assets, houses and all that. We have got hereditary right from Krishna also for his mercy. It's our birthright. That's what a beautiful verse says. The word Dhayabhak refers to a hereditary right to the Lord's mercy. A devotee must simply engage in devotional service, not caring about material situations. Then he automatically becomes a rightful candidate for promotion to Vaikuntha Loka. A devotee who renders unalloyed service to the Lord gets the right to be promoted to Vaikuntha Loka. So right. Just as a son inherits the property of his father. See how beautiful. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So the conclusion is the same which I have already said, that a devotee, how good a devotee we are, is a test when we can remember Krishna in our every activity, especially when there are adverses or reverses or setbacks in our life. Of course, we must have work to mitigate those adverses, but we must depend upon Krishna, not force our rights to Krishna. We can perform actions with some expectation, but the result of that is up to Krishna. So, Indradumna Maharaj, being cursed by Agastya Muni, a great sage, because he was a sage, his curse came true to become me, an elephant. If you and me curse somebody to become an elephant, he will not become an elephant. Agastya Muni did. And after being cursed, after leaving the whole kingdom, he was in the hermitage. He was living like a beggar. He was asking for the remote forest in Malaya hills. The Maharaj Indradumna accepted this as Lord's mercy, and which was all his past karmas were then finished in the next life as he came as an elephant in the heavenly planets. By the time of death, he remembered Krishna, and this remembrance of Krishna is by the mercy of Krishna. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 15, verse 15, 1515, he says, Matah smutir gnanam apohanam cha. From me only comes knowledge and me only comes remembrance and forgetfulness. So at the right time, Krishna makes us remember him That's why we pray, no? You can only remember Krishna if Krishna remembers you. That's why Maharaj makes us remember this point, prayer. That is when Krishna made Maharaj remember, and Krishna came immediately to protect him and take him back to Godhead. And even that crocodile, in his past life, he was a demigod, he was in the higher planets. But even he had to become a crocodile because of this curse. It's another story. Yeah. Okay, Hare Krishna. If anyone has any questions or any realizations to share, please feel free. Jai Shri Gurudev ki jai, Jagat Guru Shri Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you, Ambarisa Prabhu, for such a wonderful class.
Goal.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, can you hear us?
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Babaji.
Thank you, Ambarisa Prabhu, for giving such a wonderful class and sharing your realizations. And very, very good reminder to us that we don't lose focus. We keep moving forward because, as you said, setbacks always come. But seeing Krishna's hand is actually is very difficult. It's not easy unless we are skilled and we are trained to see Krishna's hand. Prabhuji, my question and probably your thoughts on this, that it's very easy to convince ourselves when we are moving on the path of devotional service. We're trying to engage, we're doing our regular, following the regular life, we're doing some rounds and all those things. The problem is that these setbacks, which comes from the community, from the family, from the friends, the people around us, how do you actually see Krishna's hand? Because you see what's happening to you is Krishna's hand. What are the other factors which are affecting you, which is causing you to actually, can we see Krishna's hand? And if yes, then how we can see Krishna's hand in those situations, Prabhu, when actually you are affected by your near and dears and your family and your community? Hare Krishna.
Yeah, good question. Thank you, Prabhuji, for your question. So setbacks to us comes when by our own actions we are not getting the results, and by others who are giving us setback. That's exactly what Maharaj was telling me, that this devotee is not doing anything to you, but what else? It's Krishna doing it. So Krishna works with other people to help us and even corrects us. And also when we want certain things to happen, then Krishna works through us also to make things happen to other people. So when some devotee or some friend don't understand things, he's not going to understand things automatically. At times it happens, Krishna's Paramatma can reveal to that particular person. But Krishna will work through us also for them. So in our own sphere of activity, everything that is happening to us and around us is because Krishna, God, is making sure that we remain in the right path and take the shortest possible path to go back to Godhead. So we have to really, really work hard to train ourselves to say this. Works to us, to others. Is this okay?
Yes, Prabhuji, you very rightly said it's a skill and it's a realization that we can see Krishna's hand if somebody else is doing something to us. So, yeah. Or if we are not able to progress on Krishna consciousness, path of Krishna consciousness, we should be able to see Krishna's hand in that also.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Anyone else wants to say something? Or challenge something?
Hare Krishna. This is Purohit, Anand Purohit here. Can you hear me, sir?
I can hear you, sir. Can you show yourself, sir?
Yeah, sure. आप देख पा रहे हैं?
Sorry, 1 second. I'm doing something.
Yes,
Yes,
Prabhu.
now we can see you. Yes.
Yes.
ठीक है, मैं कहना चाहूंगा कि हम लोग ये सब चर्चा सत्र में हम लोग ये चर्चा कर रहे हैं और ये गजेंद्र मोक्ष की कथा भी आपने बहुत सुंदर ढंग से सुनाई। मैं हिंदी बोलूं चलेगा? सभी लोग समझ पाएंगे?
एक तो बात आप बोलिए, हिंदी सब समझ पाएंगे, नहीं बोले मैं इंग्लिश में बोलूंगा, तो बात आप चलिए।
जी, तो बहुत सुंदर ढंग से आपने प्रस्तुति की और मैं मतलब ये कहना चाह रहा हूँ कि हम हमारी तरफ से प्रयास जरूर करते हैं, लेकिन होगा वही हरी इच्छा। क्योंकि देखिए ये किसी का गजेंद्र बनना, किसी का इसका ग्राह बनना, ये भी उसी की इच्छा से ही होता है। तो वो भी एक अपन एक सिस्टम ऑफ लर्निंग के थ्रू जा रहे हैं, एक प्रोसेस से जा रहे हैं। वी आर ऑल लर्नर्स बेसिकली। तो वो भगवान हमको कोई ना कोई रास्ते से सिखा रहे हैं। हम कितना प्रयास कर पाते हैं, तो वो पुरुषार्थ भी भगवान कहते हैं कि वह पुरुषार्थ भी मैं ही प्रदान करता हूँ। तो ये तो हम कहीं मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि कहीं हम अगर इस चीज को लेके बैठ जाएंगे कि भाई हम खुद कर पा रहे हैं, तो मुझे उसमें भी थोड़ा सा संदेह होने लगता है। इसके बारे में आपसे मैं जानना चाह रहा हूँ। क्या मैंने अपना प्रश्न बराबर रखा है?
वापस रिपीट करेंगे जो प्रश्न है उसको।
जी, देखिए मैं ये कहना चाह रहा हूँ, मैं वापिस पूरा प्रश्न रख रहा हूँ कि भाई गजेंद्र और ग्राह ये दोनों भी जैसे आपने बताया कि पूर्व जो है उनका जीवन है, उसमें एक जो है वो इंद्रदुम्न राजा थे और जो ग्राह भी बने वो भी जो है पहले कोई एक डेमी गॉड थे या जो भी थे। तो ये भी एक कोई योजनाबद्ध कार्य नहीं है क्या, जिसमें दोनों की मुक्ति कर दी भगवान ने? क्योंकि ग्राह जो है वो भी इसलिए मुक्त हो गया क्योंकि उसने किसी भक्त का पैर पकड़ा। ऐसा मेरी मान्यता है ना, कि भगवान के तो हम पैर पकड़ ही रहे हैं, लेकिन अगर भक्त के पकड़े तो ग्राह के पहले भगवान ने उसकी मतलब गजेंद्र के पहले तो ग्राह की मुक्ति कर दी, है ना। तो ये एक कोई योजनाबद्ध कार्य नहीं है और ये योजना भी भगवान स्वयं ही बना रहे हैं। तो अगर हम कह रहे हैं कि हम अगर ये सारी चेतना का हम विकसित करें, तो उसका पुरुषार्थ भी तो प्रभु खुद ही प्रदान कर रहे हैं। और हम भी किसी न किसी व्यवस्था के थ्रू और न किसी तरीके से उन्हीं की जो द्वारा ये जो बनाई हुई व्यवस्था है उसी के थ्रू हम लर्निंग कर रहे हैं।
ओके।
तो मुझे कभी कभी ये पुरुषार्थ में भी संदेह सा होने लगता है, उसके लिए मैं आपसे कहना चाहता हूँ।
ओके, पुरुषार्थ मतलब हम जो कार्य करते हैं उसके बारे में, उसमें कितना हम हमारे पास
जी, अगर हम भक्ति में भी आगे बढ़ना चाह रहे हैं, जो भी कर रहे हैं, भक्ति में आगे बढ़ने का प्रयास भी पुरुषार्थी, क्योंकि भक्ति भी भगवान स्वयं ही प्रदान करते हैं।
बरोबर।
कभी कभी मुझे अपने मतलब इस चीजों पे थोड़ा सा ऐसा लगता है कि हम एक्चुअली कर क्या रहे हैं, मतलब थोड़ा उसको डोंट टेक अदरवाइज, क्योंकि सब करने वाले वही हैं ऐसा लगने लगता है। इसलिए मैं आपसे जानना चाह रहा हूँ।
ओके, थैंक यू, अंडरस्टूड। Okay, Hare Krishna. So,
Hare
what Anandji was asking is this, that Gajendra, he was Maharaj Indradumna, and so also the crocodile was also in the past life in the heavenly planet. So the Lord, when he came, he killed the crocodile, gave him liberation, and he also gave liberation to Gajendra. So they both had some kind of background activities there. And he related this question to one's own life to say that how much activities is within us. That we, even for devotional service, we have to perform actions. And how much is in the control, not in control of ours. God controls this. Correct, Anandji? बराबर स्मिता मैंने बराबर बोला.
हाँ, सही कह रहे हैं आप. मतलब मैं ये कहना चाह रहा हूँ कि हम लोगों का खुद का इसमें रोल है ही कितना सा.
Yeah, what is our role in it? Yes, I understand. The thing is this, first thing I'll answer this question by the excellent mercy of Guru Maharaj Prabhupada is that the liberation of the crocodile was different to the liberation of Gajendra. There are different kinds of liberation. So, Gajendra received the liberation of Sarupya Mukti, having the form exactly like that of the Lord. That was his sadhana in the previous life when he was performing. And this particular crocodile got a different kind of liberation. Probably he got a liberation of Sayujya, which is where he merged into an impersonal existence of the Lord, from where he fall down again. वहां से भी ब्रह्म ज्योति से भी गिराट होती है, गिरते हैं वापस जीव भौतिक जगत. So from the Vaikunt, from the Brahma Jyoti also, any person who has liberation, achieved liberation of Brahma Jyoti, he falls down from that position also to material world. Many examples like this. That's why Mayavad philosophy is that Brahma Jyoti. So there are not same liberation, there are two different liberations. So depending upon what one wants, we get that liberation. This is what is, you see. So Gajendra got the liberation of Sarupya, having the same form of the Lord. What badi baat hai? In the planet of the Lord. And other got in Brahma Jyoti where there is nothingness. और वहां पर बहुत साल रहने के बाद he fall down again. Padantiyata, Bhagavatam में उसका वर्णन है. They fall down. So Purusharth, our actions are very important. Just like if we go out of our house to go somewhere, so we know where we want to go. And depending upon where we want to go, we will go. For example, if I want to go to Krishna Loka, to be with Krishna, Gorak Vrindavan, that is my goal. So I will act accordingly and take that route accordingly. If somebody else wants to go and say, I'll go to Krishna, but I want to go to Brahma Jyoti, so he'll take the route for Brahma Jyoti. Then actions are required. Purusharth hona hi chahiye. According to our actions, ye yathamam prapadyante. Bhagavad Gita mein Krishna is saying, ye yathamam prapadyante. Tam statheva bhajamyaham. Mama vartamanu vartante. Manushyaha partha sarvasam. So he says, as one acts, I reward them accordingly. But everyone follows my path in all the respects, O son of Pruta. दो चीज कहते हैं that जो हमें what चाहिए, जो हमें प्राप्त करना है, whatever we want to achieve in bhakti, we follow that process and we achieve that. So if you want to live in a planet of Krishna, that's called Salokya Mukti. Then you have got to perfect that kind of bhakti and that kind of austerities. If you want to become Sarupya, after death you want to achieve the form similar to Narayan, then you have to perform those kind of bhaktis. If you want to achieve Samipya Mukti, means live very close to the Lord, then you have to perform austerities, tapasya of that kind, which is different. What we do is we want to go with Krishna in Golok Vrindavan. Just like Krishna had performed his pastimes, लीला वृंदावन में जो करते थे, गोलोक वृंदावन में, वही उन्होंने वृंदावन में की, गोपास के साथ, गोपियों के साथ. ये सारे जो गोपा गोपी जो सब लोग थे वृंदावन में, वो हम अपने से कोई नहीं थे. वो सब सिद्ध देवी देवताएं थे जिनको ये देखना था. वो आए और उसके बाद वे भी गए गोलोक वृंदावन में, और के साथ साथ वो सिद्ध भक्तों थे. जैसे कि रामायण में भगवान राम को नैमिषारण्य के कुछ ऋषियों ने देखा था. When Lord Ram came, and when he went to the forest, there were some sages who saw the beautiful form of Lord Ram, and they said, we want to be with Lord Ram's beautiful form as their lover. So it's a madhurya rasa kehte hain, conjugal love. That's why those people also came when Krishna appeared. The madhurya rasa is possible only with Krishna. And they're also in only Vrindavan bhav, not other bhav. Not in Dwarka bhav, not other bhavs. It's a little complicated. It takes time. It takes stages to understanding. But if you ask the question, so I'm answering the question. So that's why those sages were sant, they came as gopis. Some of them, not all of them, some of them. And they played with Krishna, worshipped Krishna in conjugal love. So, Purusharth, हमें कार्य करना ही है. Actions we have to perform where we want to achieve. But at the same time, we should understand that based upon our past karma, we will get our next body. Natural process. But if Krishna wants, then he can speed up the process of karma, finish it off in some part only. One body, two body, and done. That is the position of Indradumna Maharaj. And people who are not devotees or who are not perfect devotees, they have to go through the natural progression of karma and go to the next life. So we should not get mixed up between what happened to Indradumna and what will happen to us. We are not in the position of Indradumna Maharaj. Is this okay? Yes, take it.
Definitely. बहुत अच्छा बताया आपने, बहुत सुंदर.
Okay. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Anyone else wants to say something? Ask any question or do your realizations? Please feel free.
Hare Krishna. Am I audible? I think there's a lag for.
Okay. We'll wait for 10 more seconds and then we'll.
Are you? Yep. I just have a question. You mentioned very nicely in a verse reference. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, you said that that the people have an inherent right to access the Lord's mercy. Is that what you said? Is that what was mentioned in the verse?
Yes.
Okay. So my question is that for people that sincerely follow other religions, let's say Christianity or Islam or Judaism or whatever, what is their progression to accessing the Lord's mercy compared to those that follow Bhakti Yoga?
Good question. Very nice question. So, here you are saying that what about those people who are following Islam, where it is impersonalism? Where will they go? What about Lord Jesus Christ's followers? Where will they go? Where will Buddhists go? Buddhists are shunyavad, nothingness. Where will they go? So, this question was asked to Srila Prabhupada. And Prabhupada said that those who follow Prophet Muhammad, Hazrat Paigambar, may peace be upon him, after their death, Prophet Muhammad will take them to that planet, particular planet, where there may be between the spiritual material world. And after that, he will take them to spiritual world, Vaikuntha Loka. For Buddhists who don't accept God and who believe in nothingness, shunyavad, there is a space, Prabhupada said, between material world and Vaikuntha planets, Brahmajyoti. In between there's nothingness. They remain there and they fall down again. And the same thing is with Lord Jesus Christ too. It may be a little simplistic. Their religion may be a little simplistic, but at the same time, quality is the same. Because what is taught by Lord Jesus Christ, what is taught by Prophet Muhammad, may peace be upon him, is very high quality in God realization. Ultimately, it is love of God. It's a different thing where people don't know this and don't follow this. So even with them, Lord Jesus Christ will make arrangement. So he said that you will find me in heaven sitting by the side of my Father. He says this in so many terms. That's why many Christians get confused and they say that if Jesus is Son of God and he says love God, so God is different, his Father is different to him. So why should we love him? That's why Christianity, to promote itself, says there's only one life. And second, they say that you can only love God through his Son, Jesus Christ. And there is no difference between the two. It is again hodgepodge. That's why this will not last too long. So they will also go to that particular world. And from there, they have to progress further to Vaikuntha Loka. But what Prabhupada are teaching us is Goloka Bhav, Vrindavan Bhav, which is topmost, which is not available, which Rasa is not available even in Vaikuntha Loka. In Vaikuntha Loka, the worship is with awe and reverence, paraphernalia. In Goloka, it's love, it's enjoyment with Krishna. Krishna doesn't like to be awe and reverence and oh my God, my God, my God, I bow down. He doesn't like all those things. But that doesn't mean we should do it artificially. So it takes a bit of time for them also. And from even Vaikuntha also, people have to move up and down. They do that. Their bhava may change. But that's another point, another discussion, not relevant. Is this okay?
Yes, Prabhuji, thank you very much for the very nice explanation. Is it okay if I ask another question? It's pretty much related to this. It's just a leading question.
Yeah.
So what happens to that do demigod worship?
Sorry, could you repeat it again? Demigod worship. Could you repeat again, please?
What happens to those that engage in demigod worship?
Yeah. Now, there are different grades of demigods also. Those who are very high quality demigods and those who are not. Even living beings can become demigods. So to understand this, we should understand that there is Jiva Tattva, means souls like us, Jivas, and then there is Vishnu Tattva, means the essence is from Vishnu. Although we are all part of the Vishnu, but the quality is different. Now, can you hear me? I can see myself freezing, so I'm stopping quietly. You can hear me still when I'm freezing?
Yep, you're audible. Thank you.
Okay, I'll keep going then. So, when the Jivas, the topmost form of a Jiva, which one can attain, is till the Brahma stage, Lord Brahma stage. If 100% is Vishnu, is Krishna, then about 84% is that stage, very high stage. That's why Brahma, not everybody can become Brahma too. Now, that is the topmost. Above that is Lord Shiva's position. So all the demigods, including Indra and all, come below Brahma stage. Lord Shiva has his own category, which is higher than Lord Brahma. Okay, but lower than that of Narayan. Very minor difference. But there, Krishna is still above everybody. This can become complex for no reason. So I'm a little concerned about answering this. But I have to give you the answer. Even if you understand these words, just understand the words. More will come in our discussion in our senior classes. So, but again, Lord Shiva has three different forms. Like Lord Vishnu has three different forms. Mahavishnu, Garbhodakshay Vishnu, Kshirodakshay Vishnu. Mahavishnu is one who, in the spiritual world, he creates the material world. Garbhodakshay Vishnu enters the material world, creates different divisions. And Kshirodakshay Vishnu is the Vishnu which we know, who lives in the material world and in the heart as Paramatma. So Lord Shiva is three different kinds also. It is very, very, very confidential. It's not available even in ISKCON devotee sites. They don't understand this. But just for understanding is this, that Lord Shiva, what we see as Shiva is Lord Shiva. He is born from Brahma's mastak, eyebrows. When he became angry, Lord Shiva popped out. So he is Lord Shiva, which is the material world. It's a demigod, as we say. But it's higher than Brahma, or the son of Brahma. Then there is another form of Shiva, which is he comes from, is called Shankara. This particular form lives in Kailash. See? Other form lives in everywhere else, in Samshan and all that. So Kailash is where Shankara, Lord Shankara lives. That's where the power changes. Very powerful. As it is, Lord Shiva is not ordinary demigod. We understand, from Brahma down, he's already Brahma up. So that Shankara lives in Kailash. Now, mind Kailash, when the annihilation takes place, that part still remains quietly. So Vaikuntha remains and this part remains. So high position. Now, this Shankara is an expansion of Sadashiva. His form is a Vishnu Tattva and lives in Vaikuntha. He's got his own particular planet in Vaikuntha. So this is how Shiva is always is a Vishnu Tattva. But his more is to serve Krishna, just like Balram, who's expansion of Krishna, but his more is to serve Krishna. Krishna doesn't want to serve anybody, but he likes to serve for his pleasure. His mother, father, friends, cows. That's all. But these are born to serve him. That's why you see that Bhimsen, or Hanuman, all they are serving Lord Ram. And so Lord Ram and Krishna also worships them. So they are own form. And Krishna also worships the devotees first. Is it okay? You understand? So those who worship the people in the Bhagavad Gita chapter 7, it is said that those who worship demigods will go to demigods' planets, including highest of Brahmaloka. And when the annihilation takes place from Brahmaloka, one can go back to Vaikuntha, no doubt, or Brahmajyoti. One can go either of these. When the partial annihilation, Brahma's planet is not destroyed, but the higher planets are destroyed. Indraloka are destroyed. So Indra planet also is material. So you can go to Indraloka, you can go to Chandraloka, you can go to Suryaloka, but all this again are lower than Brahma. Then we go to Shiva. But ultimately, even Shiva worships. Once Parvati asked the question, whom do you meditate upon? So I meditate upon Ram. He says that. That's why even in Lord Shiva came as a gopi. Even he cannot enter into the pastimes of Krishna in Vrindavan. Although he protects Vrindavan as Shiva. He worshipped, as I said, every dham you find a Lord Shiva temple. He's protecting the temple, the whole dham. That powerful. So even he came as a gopi. Like Narad came as a gopi too. To be in the pastime of Krishna in the Rasa Leela. So these are where the people will go. Similarly, if you worship Pitrus, forefathers, you go to Pitru planet. Again lower. If you worship ghosts, you go to ghostly planets. There are those who do that, tantrics and all that. You go worship Devi, you go to Devi planet. Devi's planet. Different Devi's categories are also there. Is this okay? You got the answer?
Yes, thank you very much for the very nice explanation, Hare Krishna.
Thank you. It's for my benefit. Okay. I'll wait for 10 more seconds. If not, we'll finish the discussion now.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Am I audible?
Very well.
Yeah.
Yes.
So my question is that, so you mentioned that you said that we should see Krishna's hand in everything. And I find that in our devotional life, the obstacles can be external as well as internal, right? Like there can be external things interrupting, but there can also be your own personal lack of focus, attention, sincerity, or whatever it is. So how do we see Krishna's hand in the internal obstacles? Because these seem to be something that is under our free will and under our control. So should we discount it? Like I like that. That's where I'm having the trouble. Like how do we deal with those? And how do we see Krishna's hand in those things?
So essentially you're asking if one is very lazy, he wants to sleep for 12 hours a day and cannot perform devotional service, can he blame Krishna for it? Essentially, right? Cannot concentrate upon him. Chanting, he goes everywhere while chanting. He takes a world tour in chanting. So can he blame Krishna for it? Or blame his own himself? That's your question? Right? So as I was answering the first question of Anandji, that there is some amount of self-discipline and self-worth. Purushartha is within us. Results are not within us. So don't confuse between the reaction that we are getting off for the results and the action that we are performing. Even in this story, this pastime of Indradumna, his actions were perfect. He left his kingdom, took sannyas, went to the hill, Malaya mountain, lived alone there as a beggar, as a mendicant, performing austerities, remembering Krishna. And he achieved it. He was in ecstasy. That was his action. But because of that, he did not see Agastya Muni. And Krishna wanted to stop this cycle very fast for him to come back to him. So he made Agastya Muni come there. That's why he made Agastya Muni angry. Otherwise, why would he become angry? He's such a great devotee himself. So when he cursed Indra Maharaj understood this Krishna's name. Not that Indra Maharaj was sleeping nicely in his kingdom, enjoying with so many wives, having enjoyment, all those things. And Agastya Muni goes and cursed him. He didn't do that. He was performing austerity. So actions were performed very correctly. Still something wrong happened. This is mercy of Krishna. That is what we should see. So our own inabilities that we have got is because of us. We should work hard. Otherwise, Indra Maharaj would not leave his kingdom. He was very king of the whole world. He was a Vaishnava also. So he must be very powerful too. He must be very famous as well. Is this okay? You got this answer?
Yes, Prabhupada, yeah. That was what I was looking for. Hare Krishna.
Yes. Hare Krishna. Okay. We'll wait for 10 more seconds if anyone has to say anything.
Hare Krishna. My voice is breaking. Looks like.
Yes, Haribol.
Is it echoing the voice? So I was just
It's okay
thinking.
now.
Okay. I was just thinking on this point that Divyanshi made, and so there is two things, right? One thing is our personal effort in anything, in any endeavor, our personal effort, and then the result of that. So Srila Gurudev always says that as far as your personal effort is concerned, you do not differentiate whether it's material activity or spiritual activity or whatever. We have to give our 100%. And the result, then we leave it to Krishna. So on that note, then, if we know that we are not doing something, which is normal, we are all human beings, and we know that we are not up to the mark. When we are studying, we know that always, right? So we should be able to differentiate that. And so put it this way, that anything that is, Krishna will always wish anything that is good for us and in our favor. So if there is something that is not in our favor, then that is because of us. That's the standard thing. And we may not understand it, but then it will manifest later to us. I'll just give an example. Srila Prabhupada had started a league of devotees in Jhansi, before going to the West. And it was very, very successful. And there were so many forces which were trying to stop the preaching activities of Srila Prabhupada. So it had started and so many people were interested, but there were some external forces. But Srila Prabhupada just took it as a will of the Lord. And we know now afterwards that, the Lord had greater plans for Srila Prabhupada. And at that point of time, if we don't know what is the plan, then, and it will manifest later. So now we have the example of Srila Prabhupada. And then also on personal note, so many devotees also have this experience that there are so many occasions when we think that this is the right thing for me, or this is the right situation for me, but it may not be. And it manifests later in our life that actually there is a reason why this happened, and that reason manifests to us also. So just those 2 points, like one thing is about the effort. Krishna wants us to come to him. There's no question about it. We have to be 100% sure about that. If we are not going to him, then that's because of us, 100%. If we keep that in our mind, then we should be able to differentiate and progress as well. Hare Krishna.
Yes, that's correct. Thank you very much. That should clarify even further. Basically, don't transfer your blame. Okay.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Very good.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for a very wonderful class. So, because we're discussing actually this point to see Krishna's hand in everything what we do. So, because we are as born as actually the living entity, and as now we have been taught that actually we acquire different designations, in this material world, and it comes, every designation comes with its own responsibilities. So, as Urshabdev says, when you become father or teacher, or preacher, so you carry that responsibility of actually delivering those souls. So even if you actually make very sincere efforts, you try to actually teach this path or try to make them devotees. But if they don't listen, despite your best efforts, and if they do not become Krishna conscious, so do you still get that karma, or is that you see as Krishna's hand there? Is that I was a bit confused about that point. Means to what point actually, one should actually endeavor to actually, as a matter of responsibility or as a matter of love, whatever it would be. But if you're not successful, do you still see the Krishna's hand, or do you actually need to see within yourself that actually you are lacking?
No, the confusion should only be once. Our focus should be once. Our focus is not to make other people devotees. The focus is wrong. Our focus is to make ourselves devotees. So if others are becoming devotee or not, it is their business, not our business. We are not Krishna. And if those are dependent upon us, if they're not becoming devotee, if they're suffering, and if they're going to suffer, then we should become pure devotee and go back to Godhead. So 21 generations will be liberated. So either case, we should think about our own bhakti, not others' bhakti. And we should lead by example. In either case, we must go back to Godhead, whether they become devotee or not become devotee. So their chance becomes easy to go back to Godhead. Is this okay?
Yes, Prabhuji, it's only that instruction, with the Ushabs, they say that you carry that responsibility. So is that
You're carrying, don't become father. You don't become father if you cannot liberate your dependent. Don't become a guru if you don't. Don't become an uncle. Don't become an auntie. Now, if somebody of your cousin brother gets married to become uncle, what can you do? Avinash became grandfather. So I also became grandfather. They're calling me also grandfather. Now, what did I do? I told him that I'm very happy for you to become grandfather. All glories to you. Why are you making me grandfather? My son is even not got married, But now I'm grandfather. So this is what happened. Material world is like this. So the idea is not to get caught up. The idea is that if you cannot liberate them, don't become. So what do you mean by don't liberate them? You're misunderstanding this concept. If you cannot liberate them, if you cannot help their cycle, stop the cycle of birth and death, meaning what? You will remain in the material world and make them to go to Golok Vrindavan? Is it your understanding?
No, my understanding is that actually means if you fail to educate them properly, so that is your failure in that actually. So
you try your best. You try your best, give proper education, but you go back to Godhead. Then they will come back to you, even if they don't do it. There is a whole situation. You train them, put them properly, doing very well. It's up to them. Otherwise, we are going back to God anyways. So they'll follow us, because just by virtue that you became responsible for them, it's a great privilege for them, great blessing for them. I'm a devotee's child or grandchild or my nephew or whatever it is, grandson or granddaughter or whatever it is. Being a devotee is a big responsibility and a great privilege. To be associated with a devotee is very, very rare. That's why Guru na Sishya, Janani na Sishya, Shabdev says this. Don't become if you cannot liberate them. That means at least you become liberated, then they'll come back to you, know. How do you say 21 generations are liberated? And the liberation is such that not only your line of liberation, your previous life which you had, some body, their line of liberation, 21 generations also liberated, up and down. Before that also, all are liberated. Imagine this, going back to God is so privileged. Don't be caught up only by this one body. Remember about your parents of the next last body. Your children depending on last body. Before that, all are liberated. It's so powerful. This is what Srila Prabhupada has given to the whole humanity. We don't even understand. We fail to understand the mercy which he has given in his books. You tell me, listen to this, is it not dynamic?
Yes, Guruji, yeah, it's very dynamic. Yeah.
Yeah, so that is the point, that 21 generation and liberation, we do our best to make them liberated. No problem, we are going anyways. So you'll be liberated, we give you the path, no problem. But we work very hard to make them devotee, but not at the cost of all being devotee. Our devotional service is first, because it will help us to become devotee. Is it okay?
Yeah, yes, Guruji. Yeah, you actually, I lost some, couple of seconds. Right. Yeah, but I understood what you're saying. Yes, Guruji.
Yeah, I thought so. So we are preaching. Yeah, we are preaching to become devotees. We are not preaching to make other devotees, yes, but it's for our benefit. Don't forget that.
Yes, Guruji.
Same logic applies to our family also. We are making them devotees to help us to become devotees. Preaching is the best medicine to become a devotee. If you can, please do so.
Yes, Guruji.
Please.
Yes. Thank you, Guruji.
It's okay?
Yes. Yes, Guruji. Yeah. Yeah. That clarified the point. Yes.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Guruji. Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण। मैं कुछ एक प्रश्न कर सकता हूँ? अभी समय है हमारे पास?
आनंद जी।
जी।
So I'm very freezing. My phone is freezing, so I can't. So Anand ji, आप बोल रहे हैं, so you can go to show yourself. Compulsory है.
दिखाई दे रहा हूँ मैं अभी? It's okay now?
1 minute. Yes, tell me.
मतलब मेरा प्रश्न, आप उसको प्रश्न समझिए या एक डिस्कशंस के लिए हम एक वापस एक नया रास्ता खोल रहे हैं, ऐसा समझ सकते हैं कि हम ये जितने भी चाह रहे हैं ये सब आफ्टर डेथ एक्सपीरियंसेस है। मैं थोड़ा उसको अलग तरीके से पुट अप कर रहा हूँ कि अगर मोमेडियंस हैं वो भी चाहते हैं कि स्वर्ग मिले उनको, तो वो भी एक रास्ता है। वो बोल रहे हैं कि अगर हम अल्लाह का नाम लेके अगर मरेंगे तो हम स्वर्ग में जाएंगे। आज हम भी प्रयास कर रहे हैं कि भाई हमारा जब ये सूक्ष्म शरीर, जब ये आत्मा जो है जिसको कहते हैं हम लोग, ये जो शरीर है इसको छोड़ेगा तो हम कहीं ना कोई एक डेस्टिनेशन पे पहुंचेंगे। वो कोई हमने हमारे लिए जो डेस्टिनेशन डिस्क्राइब किया है वो गोलोक धाम है। तो इस तरीके से लिए हम प्रयास कर रहे हैं और हम डिवोटी बनना चाह रहे हैं। इसको हम भगवान के कहे हुए जो मार्ग हैं जिसको निष्काम कर्मयोग कहते हैं कि भाई हमारी कोई कामना ही नहीं है, उसको हम उसको कैसे कोरिलेट करेंगे, उसको दोनों को? निष्काम कर्मयोग
ये जो
योग के पहले भगवान कहते हैं कि हमारा जो कर्म है, पुरुषार्थ जो है, पुरुषार्थ यानी कर्म है, समझो, हम ऐसा मान के चल रहे हैं पूरा एक फिलहाल के लिए, कि भाई हमारी कोई इच्छा ही नहीं है, हमारी जो इच्छा है, जो ठाकुर जी हमारे भगवान चाहेंगे वही हमारी इच्छा है। तो इसको कैसे कोरिलेट करेंगे हम?
आपको प्रश्न थोड़ा सा उलझा हुआ है। फर्स्ट थिंग इज,
मैं उसको और सिंप्लीफाई करता हूँ, मैं उसको और सिंप्लीफाई करता हूँ, एकदम और
ये जो भी हो रहा है वो हमारे
नहीं,
मरने के बाद,
और सिंप्लीफाई कर देता हूँ मैं थोड़ा सा, और उसको हल्का कर देता हूँ।
let me tell you so that you understand what I've understood correctly or not.
जी,
फर्स्ट थिंग इज दिस के मरने के बाद अगर आपको कहीं जाना है, आपने मरते दम तक छोड़ दिया उसको कि मरने के बाद मैं वहां जाऊंगा, तो आपने बहुत देर कर दी।
नहीं, मैं वैसा नहीं, मतलब मैं इसलिए कह रहा हूँ कि मैं उसको थोड़ा सा अलग तरीके से पुटअप करता हूँ अभी।
आप यही शरीर
बेसिकली हम भी हमारे लिए एक डेस्टिनेशन बना के चल रहे हैं, यानी हम जैसे गोलोक वृंदावन पहुंचना चाह रहे हैं, जो भी है हम जिसको कह रहे हैं हम लोग, मैं थोड़ा सा उसको अलग तरीके से पुटअप कर रहा हूँ। डोंट गेट उसको अलग तरीके से ना समझे, मैं उसको सिर्फ शब्द अलग दे पा रहा हूँ, अभी मेरे पास शायद उससे बेटर वर्ड नहीं है। लेकिन मैं इसको कहना क्या चाह रहा हूँ ये समझिए कि हम, ये भी हमारी एक अल्टीमेटली इच्छा ही है। तो वो जो निष्काम कर्मयोग है और हमारी इच्छा है, इसको कैसे हम कोरिलेट करेंगे बहुत सादी शब्द में?
ओके, निष्काम कर्मयोग और ये इच्छा योग बोल रहे हैं। ओके, ऑलराइट
जी, मतलब अल्टीमेटली ये हमारी
निष्काम कर्म मींस, या सो बेसिकली भगवद गीता टॉक्स अबाउट कर्मस, कर्म के बाद में बात करते हैं। तो उसमें कर्म एक बात, फर्स्ट इज कर्म, every action has got its own reaction, positive, negative, neutral. This one karma. Then there is vikarma, means negative action gives you negative karma. Then there is sukarma. Third is sukarma, meaning good actions give you good reactions. So now my screen is frozen. I don't know whether you guys can see me. So till this level we have to get another body. इसको बोलते हैं कि आपके पास निष्काम कर्म नहीं है, तो आपको इसके लिए बॉडी मिलेगी जी। Then there is called akarma. Akarma meaning those actions which does not give you reaction. So वो जो हमें वो करना है, वो करने में हमें उसको निष्काम कर्म ही बोलते हैं जी। जब तक हम कर्म, अच्छे कर्म मतलब सुकर्म, बुरे कर्म भी कर्म वो करेंगे, तब तक हमको दूसरी बॉडी मिलेगी, उसको बोलते हैं। वो निष्काम कर्म हो नहीं सकता, वो काम कर्म जी। निष्काम कर्म, अपाप कर्म जो बोलते हैं उसे, वो उसको अकर्म बोलते हैं, जिससे हमें रिएक्शन नहीं मिलता। तो हम वही खाना खाते हैं, अगर आप वेजिटेरियन भी हो, पर कृष्ण भगवान को ऑफर किए बगैर खाओगे तो आपको उसका कर्म मिलेगा ही मिलेगा। उस प्लांट में भी जीव है, नॉनवेज खा रहे हो तो बहुत ज्यादा मिलेगा। फिर हम सुनते हैं, हम सांस लेते हैं तो कितने लोगों को मारते हैं, चीज को मारते हैं। हम चलते हैं तो मारते हैं, पेस्टिसाइड लगा दिया घर में तो मारते हैं, तो कितने कर्म चढ़ते हैं। पर वही डिवोटी जो अपने घर को मंदिर बनाता है, जो अपने शरीर को मंदिर बनाता है, जो अपने फैमिली को मंदिर डिवोटी बनाता है, उसको यही सब करना पड़ता है। बट द इंटेंशन इज टू सर्व कृष्णा, कि कृष्ण के मंदिर में ये ना हो, घर में ये ना हो, ठीक है ना। और मैं उसको बिना खा नहीं सकता, वेजिटेबल्स खा नहीं सकता, तो फिर कृष्ण को ऑफर करते हैं हम खाना, जो वेजिटेबल होता है वो, प्याज लहसुन मशरूम के बगैर, चाय कॉफी चॉकलेट के बगैर। तो सारा काम जो है वो कर्म में चले जाता है। चैंटिंग करना, डिवोटीज का एसोसिएशन करना, फिर धीरे धीरे चैंटिंग बढ़ाना 24 आवर्स। जैसे उम्र बढ़ती है वैसे हमारी भक्ति बढ़नी चाहिए 24 घंटे। जब तक यंग होते हैं तो बात अलग है, आपकी नौकरी है, चाकरी है, फैमिली है, इसको तो ज्यादा है तो आप समय निकाल के करो काम। पर when we are free we should do more। उसके लिए कृष्ण ही मदद करता है, तो फ्रीडम दिलाता है हमको उस चीजों के लिए। ठीक है ना। सो इस हिसाब से जो कर्म है वो करना होता है, फिर हम अकर्म करते हैं, और वो अकर्म स्टूडेंट लाइफ में भी हो सकता है, शुरुआत कभी भी हो सकती है उसकी। Moment you become dependent upon Krishna fully, all our actions will become karma free. ये भक्ति योग का ये एक वरदान है भक्ति योग। तो जब अपने आप को पूरी तरह से समर्पित कर देते हो कृष्ण भावना में, और उसके लिए ट्रेनिंग चाहिए, उसके लिए एसोसिएशन ऑफ राइट डिवोटीज चाहिए। हर किस्म के लोग होते हैं, तो डिवोटी होते हैं। आप समझे ये बात ठीक है? मैंने बराबर बताई बात आपको? ओके, थैंक यू, हरे कृष्ण। Okay, we finish now. 10 more seconds and then we'll finish. Okay, Jai. Praise God, Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai. Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is ki Jai. Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki Jai. Srila Gurudev ki Jai. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Srimati Gaur Chandra Premanande. Hari Hari Bol. Okay, now it's very late. What time is it now? कल तो holiday है, Queen's birthday है, छुट्टी है कल in New Zealand में. Long live the Queen. At least for that you must say long live the Queen. वरना भी गाली देते हैं India में सब Queen को. ठीक है. हरे कृष्णा माधव, हरे कृष्णा सुभद्रा, कैसे हैं आप?
हरे कृष्णा.
हरे कृष्णा, nice to see you. Nice to see you both. माधव जरा पतला लग रहे हैं माधव, तबीयत ठीक है आपकी?
Yeah, he's all right.
He's all right. Good, good, good. So whose turn is it now? Hare Krishna, Navina, कैसे आहात तुम्ही? Chan, खूप छान. छानच रहा. Okay, who's going to sing today?
Subhi will sing probably.
Subhadra is going to sing?
Yes.
Okay, let's start. 1, 2, 1.
Maharaj, please hear us.
Maharaj, please hear us.
We have learned some real good stuff.
We have learned some real good stuff.
Maharaj, we have learned one thing.
Maharaj, we have learned one thing.
And today for you we will sing.
And today for you
we will sing. If our room is clean, if our room is clean, then our mind is clean. Then our mind is clean. If our mind is clean, if our mind is clean, we can do anything.
We can do anything.
If our room is dirty,
If our room is dirty,
then so are we.
then so are we.
But if we are dirty, we're not happy.
We're not happy.
Wasting time.
Wasting time
is the greatest crime.
is the greatest crime.
Because wasted time.
Because wasted time
Means a wasted mind.
means a wasted mind.
The best is your time.
The best is your time.
When you're in your prime.
When you're in your prime.
And your whole life.
And your whole life
will be sublime.
will be sublime.
If your wealth is gone.
If your wealth is gone,
then there's nothing wrong.
then there is nothing wrong.
But if your health is gone.
If your health is gone,
then that's a different song.
that's a different song.
If your characters die.
If your characters die,
then the world will cry.
then the world will cry.
Only saintly behavior.
Only saintly behavior.
That's humanity thrive.
That's humanity thrive.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. We must always remember Krishna.
We must always remember Krishna
And never forget him too.
and never forget Him too.
But how are we to practice this with so many things to do?
But how are we to practice this with so many things to do?
That is the greatest question.
That is the greatest question.
And here's the greatest clue.
And here is the greatest clue.
You must learn to work so nicely that Krishna remembers you.
You must learn to work so nicely that Krishna remembers you.
So listen very closely.
So listen very closely
And make your thinking sharp.
and make your thinking sharp.
Let's learn how we can live and work so Krishna won't depart.
Let's learn how we can live and work so Krishna won't depart.
If something due tomorrow,
If something's due tomorrow,
finish it today.
finish it today.
Whatever is due today,
And whatever is due today,
do it now, don't delay.
do it now, don't delay.
Your friends might be lazy.
Your friends might be lazy
Or doing bad things.
or doing bad things,
But you think again.
but you think again,
Don't follow them.
don't follow them,
And you will win the end.
and you will win the end.
Whatever work we're
Given,
whatever work we're given.
whatever work we're given,
We do our really best.
we do our really best.
We only live with what we need and give Krishna the rest.
We only live with what we need and give Krishna the rest.
This is how to live, to work and to play. To learn to live this way, see Krishna every day.
This is how to live, to work and to play. You learn to live this way, see Krishna every day.
When our time is up, we'll take a step of faith. We'll sing without saying, the heart full of love.
And when our time is up, He'll take us up above. We sing and dance with Him with the heart full of love.
So chant Krishna's name, His glories and His fame. The only in this world will ever become friends.
So chant Krishna's name, His glories and His fame. It is the only way this world will ever become sane.
Now please ask this greatest question.
Now, please ask this greatest question
Find this greatest clue.
and find this greatest clue.
You can only remember Krishna.
You can only remember Krishna
If Krishna remembers you.
if Krishna remembers you.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai.
Krishna Prabhuji, you're muted, sorry.
Sorry, took time. Jai Guruneshwara Mahavishnu Goswami Maharaj Shri Gurudev ki Jai. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Jai Gaur Chandra Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Shananta Koti Vaishnava ki Jai. Namo Vishwadaya Samstha Bhuta Vishwadi Mahavishnu Goswami Namine. Namo Vishwadaya Samstha Bhuta Vishwadi Bhakti Viran Swami Namine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurvani Kusai Nadi Vishesha Shindori Pasade Sarvini. Hare Krishna. With this, we come to the end of our program. Krishna willing, we will see you next week. Same place, same time. Till then, chant Hare Krishna and be happy. Hare Bo!
Hare Krishna, Hare Bol.
Hare Krishna, bro. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Babuji. Thank you. Thank you for
Hare
class. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.